Hello everyone, I've built a website and I want to present it for you. I can see two main ways how you can use it. One is to improve your own game and understanding how you can play with a specific fraction with a specific opening, and another is to find some interesting games which were played like in some specific setups. So in this video I'm going to guide you through the capabilities of this website, and hopefully you will find it useful and you will be able to use it to improve your own game or just to search for some interesting games. First, let's see how we can find some openings. Let's imagine that you are playing Terrans and you always started with the laboratory and you are not really sure like how to play with the Planetary Institute. So this is how I would approach searching for the games in this scenario. So first let's pick Terrans as a winner, and let's add information that Terrans started with Planetary Institute within the first round. And also let's say that minimum L level is 200, just in case. After that we are pressing search. We are waiting for some time and we can see some of the games where the player started with the Planetary Institute. After that we can just open Board Game Arena and we can like review the game start. So that might help us to understand how will it be better to start with the Planetary Institute with Terrans. Another example of a similar thing would be let's say Neverless. So as a Neverless, most of the time we are building Planetary Institute in the first round, but it is not really a good idea when you don't have charges. And sometimes you are getting such games when nobody is charging you. You've built a Planetary Institute and like that's it. So Planetary Institute one mine maybe not the best thing to do. So it is good to understand how it is possible to play with Neverless when you're opening with the Knowledge Academy. So what I'm doing, I've picked Neverless as the winner, and for the fraction configuration I added like Neverless Knowledge Academy round 2. I press search, and those are the games where the player started with the Knowledge Academy, and we can see that most of the times it was round 2, because it's quite tricky but possible to open with the Knowledge Academy in the first round, as for example in this game. So you can start like exploration of these possibilities. Or for example, you always played with best codes and you always started with the laboratory, but you would like to see examples when baskets were playing with the academy, yeah? So you can easily do that, and you can see games where baskets were starting with the Knowledge Academy. Another example how you can analyze some of the openings, let me show it like on the example. Let's say you have been playing with Hashhalas and you are curious, like, does it make sense to build a Planetary Institute in the first round? Is it a beneficial start? And what might be like games where players started like that, and how many games actually won? So as you can see, search found just 2 games where the player started with Planetary Institute with the Hashhalas. Let's try to compare it with a similar example, but we are starting with the Knowledge Academy instead of Planetary Institute. We tap search, and there are 72 games where Hashhala won here. So it doesn't mean that Planetary Institute is always bad, but it is probably a sign that Planetary Institute works in much rarer conditions comparing to the Academy. After that you can like go deeper, you can try to check those specific games to see like what was the setup here. So comparing for example to ITARs who starting with Planetary Institute in the first round, just as an example, so how many games ITARs won in these conditions. There are like 50 games. And if we start with the TARS with the Knowledge Academy in the first round, there are 74 games has been found. So this is like completely different from what we have seen with the Hashhalas. Yeah, so the difference between like 49 games and 72 is more or less okay-ish, but here the difference like 72 games and 2 games. So maybe Planetary Institute as a Hashhala is not the best idea, or maybe it works like only in very, very specific cases. Now let's say that you more or less know how to play with Ambass, but you're not really sure how to play Gaiaforming Ambass. It is possible to find such games as well. So you pick Ambass, and in the fraction config you're saying that Gaiaforming should be at least on the level 1, and let's say at round less than 2. And after that you can search such games. So where the Ambass won this game, and we can see that, for example, in this game, Wuwu started with Gaiaforming in the first round, scored 290 points. Also, we can notice that the final scoring was Gaia Planet. And if we will go through the list, then we see that probably half of the games has this like Gaiaforming, Gaia Planet's final scoring. So those might be a sign that it is might be a good idea to think about that when you have this final scoring mission. Another thing, how you can look into this game, how you can use it. So imagine you are playing Gleens and you are stuck between Ambass, so Ambass presented in the game, and for example Geodens. So let's say you have such a setup and Gleens still won. So here's the question: how would you play this game as a Gleen to be able to win it in the end? Yeah, we can try to search such games, and we found some of the games. After that we can investigate like what was happening in the game itself. So first I can see that there are like Gaia planets, so probably this is like Gaiaforming Gleens, but we can double check looking into the website. So as we can see, there are like 7 buildings on Gaia planets. Here we have like 9 buildings on Gaia planets, and here we have 10 buildings on Gaia planets. So in all those games where Gleens were able to win, Gleens went up on the Gaia track. We can go to the end of the game fast, and we will be able to see is it true, and to see like what were the final, what were the tags picked by the Gleens. Maybe that will help us to understand what was happening. So as you can see, Gleens were able to progress on the Gaia track and also on the navigation track, and like 2 tags have been taken. So looks like when you are playing Gleens with Ambass and Geodens, the only chance for you is like not the only, but probably there is not much options, because you are stuck between orange and brown. You cannot easily take other planet types, so you're forced to go up on the Gaia track. We can check like other games, but I think all of them will be similar. So you can use it as a tool for understanding how to play in these scenarios. So before jumping to the interesting games, few words about full capabilities. It is probably self-describing, but let me go through it. First search criteria is the winner of the game. Second, you can pick 0 or 1 or 2 final scorings. So you will find only the games where this final scoring was presented. Third, like players ILA, and for example you can search by the specific player who won this game. And then what do we have here? We can say that like specific building was built in specific round, and we can say that specific track was able to progress, I don't know, at round 4. So we are saying here that we want Firax to have Gaiaforming at least 4 in round 6, and we want to see only 3-player games. Then we tap search and we see if there are such games. And as you can see, there are such games. If there is nothing, then you can start losing your search. For example, removing final scoring mission and see if we have like more games. We immediately found more games where Stevie were able to win with the Firax. So yes, now coming to the interesting games. So let's reset everything. So to find interesting games, the best thing for you to be looking at is like the certain criteria. For example, let's say you would like to see the games where Gleens were presented and Gleens were able to score the highest number of QIC point actions. Let's tap search and let's see what do we have. And here we have 39 points scored by Gleens. Here we have another 39 points by Gaia and Ran Xiao, and then like 28, 24. These games where we have like 0 PTS, it means that they have been ended before, so it was like either abandoned, either some of the player left from the game, so it was finished before the final scoring, etc. So those will be QIC actions. We can also check, even without Gleens, but what is the highest number of the QIC points by any fraction that we have. And we can see it is like 55 by Geodens, 54 by Ivids, like again 54 by Geodens and Ivids, again Geodens, Ivids, and after that like Hashhalas 49. So other things to filter on, let's say tech points, and let's say you would like to let's say you would like to know what is the highest possible amount of points that you can get from the technologies when playing Xenos. What do we have here? So here we have game played by Babuk, and he was able to score 62 from the technologies points. After that, like 61, 61, 58. So probably those games might be interesting to look at. And also we have like two metrics like scored points and total points. So the difference between those two, scored points doesn't include like your starting points, and total points, it is like your like basically your final scoring. So let's say we would like to see what is the highest possible amount of total points between all of the games that we have in the database. And we have 267 by Taklons, then by Rank Xiao, then 265 by Geodens and Wuvu. After that you can ask a question, but what would be the maximum total points by, let's say, best codes, yeah, sorting by best codes, what would be such games? We have that, like it is 254, then like 251. So those sorting can be used to find in such games. So a few closing words. Right now I can fetch 100 games per day, and if you want I can fetch like games for your specific player. Right now I'm doing it a bit randomly to cover up like different players and different styles of the games, but mostly from the top of arena season or top of Gaia scoring. So if you want, I can fetch the games for your player. Feel free to leave a comment with your player ID and or your player name on the board game arena, and I will do that. I am open to discussion and I'm really interested to know how you can use this tool for improvement of your own games and your gameplay. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next videos.